I am a working chef who also happens to be a woman in my late 30s trying to get adequate protein in my diet. Chicken is one of the most accessible forms of meat protein that there is to eat, but it can get boring and sometimes it's dry as fuck. I know you know what I'm talking about. We have all made dry and bland chicken. We have all eaten dry and bland chicken, and today we're gonna fix that. Before we do that, this channel hit 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for being my 1,000 friends and subscribers who believed in me since day one, who signed on before anyone else had. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Back to bland and dry chicken and how to fix it. The distasteful texture and flavor is most likely coming from one of two things, maybe both. Number one, your chicken cut of choice is a boneless, skinless chicken breast. And number two, you're afraid of salmonella. Now, neither of those things are bad, but put them together and you're chewing on rubber. Gross and also unnecessary. Chicken doesn't have to be that way, and today we will be using our knowledge of science and French cuisine to ensure that your chicken, no matter what cut you use, is tender, delicious, and doesn't take a million years to chew and swallow. Let's go. Today we're going to be doing a compare and contrast with 4 different cuts of chicken prepared 2 different ways. We've got boneless, skinless chicken breasts, boneless, skinless chicken thighs, a bone-in chicken breast, and bone-in thighs. For our boneless, skinless options, we're going to be marinating and then searing. For our bone-in options, we're going to be braising. Go ahead and preheat our oven to 425 and assemble our ingredients. We've got our bone-in thighs, our bone-in breast. I've got my boneless options already marinating here. I'll walk you through that in a second. Got a cast iron skillet, a baking pan, chicken stock, white wine, salt, pepper, and olive oil. When working with chicken, something with a bone and something with skin is automatically going to be more tender, more juicy, and more flavorful than a piece that has been stripped of all of those things. That being said, you may just prefer boneless, skinless chicken breast, and if you do, that's totally fine. But we do need to be mindful of several things in order to add back in some of the flavor and prevent it from drying out. Bone-in option gives us the luxury of the longer it cooks, the more tender it becomes. We don't have that same option with boneless. Again, which is fine, but we do need to be solid on our cooking techniques and when to use which ones. Let's do boneless first. I've got a breast and thighs, both boneless, skinless, here in my marinade. Marinade consisted of Dijon mustard, which is an emulsifier, white wine, which is an acid, olive oil, which is your fat, and then salt and pepper, which are your seasonings. You can mix and match those for any acid, emulsifier, fat that you want to, and then seasonings obviously are up to you. And head to the stove and we're gonna get a nice sear on this marinated meat. While that is heating up, let me point out a couple key things about a marinade. Number one, it is the acid in your marinade that is going to break down the protein structures prior to cooking, making the meat more tender. The flavors that you've been marinating it in also are going to seep into the meat, making it more flavorful, so that's a bonus. With chicken, the protein structure is not super dense or strong, so you don't want to actually marinate it for too long. If you do that, the acid can break down the protein to the point where it becomes mushy or it starts to disintegrate. So you don't need to do chicken overnight. You can do it for 2 to 3 hours. That's totally sufficient. My skillet's getting hot. I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil to the base here. And then we're gonna get a nice sear on our meat and then finish it in the oven. Usually you go skin side down. This doesn't have skin, but we're gonna do the side that would have had skin. I'm paying attention to a couple of things here. Right now, I don't wanna overcrowd my pan. Doing that is going to reduce the temperature of this pan, which means I'm not going to get a good sear on it. Number 2, I'm paying attention to how hot it actually is and recognizing I probably could have turned it up a little bit higher. So I'm making that adjustment for the next round. Contrary to popular belief, searing meat does not lock in the moisture, but what it does do is something called the Maillard reaction, which means that when the protein hits the heat, it starts the caramelization process. So that's that nice browning color that we get, and that also increases the flavor of the meat. Since especially boneless, skinless chicken breasts are somewhat flavorless because there's no fat, there's no bone, there's no skin, there's nothing extra adding flavor in the meat inherently, getting that really nice sear on it is going to go a long ways in terms of the overall enjoyability of it. We're going to go ahead and flip these over. You can see we've got some nice color, some nice caramelization. Those are our chicken thighs. Here's our chicken breast. I'm gonna get some sear on the other side and then move it over here into my baking pan. And then with my marinade, at this point, I'm gonna go ahead and toss this. You could, if you wanted to, put a little bit more on top of the meat before you roast it, brush it on there. But you definitely don't wanna save this, since the raw chicken juice has been in it, for anything that would be used after cooking. So I've got my chicken breasts, which are gonna take a little longer to bake because they are bigger, and my chicken thighs. Never have I held chicken so close to my face before as I have in this video. Chicken thighs have naturally more fat already in the meat, which means these are gonna be more flavorful, more tender just inherently. The chicken breasts are a leaner option, which is honestly why people tend to gravitate towards them. So if that's what you're going for, then that's what you're going for. Again, totally fine. You're the chef of your own life. You get to decide what you want to eat. But the key here is that we don't want to overcook this. There's nothing that's going to really protect the texture of the meat when there's no skin and there's no bone. Yes, we want to get rid of salmonella. We don't want anyone getting sick. But the key is just hit it right on the target. We want 165 degrees internal temperature. That's going to kill all the bacteria. We don't need to overdo it. 185, 190, that's not going to make it any better for you than 165. Okay. Going in 425, I'm gonna set a timer for 15 minutes and then we'll go from there. The reason that I pan sear, or you could grill and then finish in the oven, is it's easier to temperature control the oven, which means that I don't have to keep it on direct heat for as long, which is gonna help protect the overall dryness or lack thereof. While that's cooking, let's go ahead and get our bone-in options ready for braising. Braising is hands down my favorite way to cook just about any cut of meat. It's so forgiving, so flavorful. It only gets better with time instead of worse, which is amazing. Braising is the act of searing the meat first. Again, we're going skin side down. I'm gonna pan spray this just a little bit, which is a hack for any meat so that it doesn't stick, just because my skillet already has a little bit of chicken in it from the last time. And then we're gonna add moisture, we're gonna add liquid, and then roast it. Okay, I'll get my thighs in there first. 100% realizing in this moment that I didn't salt the other one. There was salt in the marinade, which is gonna help, but potentially it'll need more. Salt also helps with protein structure and tenderizing it, so that's gonna be helpful for more than just flavor. You got some good color on there. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over. You can see the fat that's coming out of these, which is why they're so much better. I'm gonna pull these out of the pan just so that I can sear the chicken breast without overloading my pan. And then I can add them all back in together with the liquid for baking. I don't want to throw off the temperature of the pan too much. I'm gonna leave those juices in there, and that's gonna be nice for this. And let it reheat for just a second. Okay, we got some nice heat going on here. Chicken breast going in. Put it up in. Okay, I got some good color. I'm gonna turn that over. And now I can go ahead and add, I'm gonna turn this off, add my other pieces back in. So loud. Let me pull that off so I can show you adding the liquid. So if you're hearing me, I'm gonna add the liquid. The ASMR is really ASMR-ing. It's fun. I'm gonna add a little bit more salt on the top, and then my pepper. My 2 liquids that I'm gonna add today, I'm gonna add some more of the white wine. Some more. There is no white wine in this yet. I used this white wine for my marinade. And then some chicken stock. If you're braising beef, you could add beef stock. Sometimes if you're doing beef, I think adding like a tomato paste or juice is also nice. I don't need all of the meat. Oh no, my cork. Okay, hold on. Okay, crisis averted. You don't need to cover the meat completely. about halfway submerged is great. We're not simmering. What's the word? I can't even think of the word that I want. It's not boiling, it starts with an S. Simmering is the only other thing I can think of, but I don't think that that's it either. But anyways, we're not doing that, whatever it is that I can't think of. We only need it to just like be slightly submerged in the liquid. And then the juices and the fat from the chicken are gonna continue to like seep out as it, oh, that's my timer for the other one, as it cooks, but then it's gonna just cook in its own juices, which is gonna make it more tender, more flavorful, more delicious. Okay, we gotta keep going. Time to check. Wowza. This, okay, that's all done. I'm gonna go ahead and throw this in. And let's check this. I got my chicken thighs. I got my chicken breasts. We got some nice color on there. They're done. They're done. I do not have a thermometer, but I can tell by the way that that's giving or not giving that it's done. We have a thermometer. Now's the time to use it. I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off onto a cutting board and let it start to cool. A key here is we don't want to cut into it too early. That is when all the juices that we just worked so hard to keep in our chicken are gonna just run right back out. We're gonna let these rest for probably 8 minutes or so, 8 to 10 minutes before we slice into them. Meantime, these babies, wow, my oven's dirty, are gonna go for at least 30 minutes, potentially longer. When you're cutting meat, it's best to always go against the grain. So you can see the grain is running this way, which means instead of cutting this way, I wanna cut against it. That's gonna give me better texture, better consistency. All right, it's not gonna be as tough that way. So that is perfect. Look at that. All right, let's go with the breast. Same thing, I can see that the grain is going this way, which means that I want to, instead of cutting right against it, I wanna go opposing it. Look at that. Also, pretty perfect. So we're cooked all the way through, but you can tell that it's still juicy, but clear juices, which is a good sign. Same for my chicken thighs. So we're gonna do a little taste test. Being mindful of the fact that I didn't do extra salt on this. So I'm gonna add a little bit now before I taste it. I'm going the chicken thigh first. The marinade is good. Oh, I put a little bit of honey in there too. I forgot to add that. So it's a little bit tangy from the Dijon and from the white wine, but just a little bit of sweet from it being caramelized in the pan, and then with the honey too. The honey also added to that. That's why my pan's so sticky. Now I'm remembering. All right, chicken breast. Not dry, so that's good. Definitely not as flavorful, which I already knew was gonna be the case, and that's okay. So if you are okay with having something that has slightly more fat in it, I would go with the chicken thighs. They're also cheaper, so that's a bonus. You get a little bit more bang for your buck. But the breast, still good, not as flavorful, not dried out though, so we succeeded on that front. The key there, again, not overcooking it. Like you wanna just get to where you're safe from any kind of bacterial contamination. 165, so check it often, and then stop when you get to that point, knowing that it's actually gonna raise a few degrees again once you pull it out of the oven. But as soon as you hit that 165, pop it out. You don't need to leave it in there any longer than that. That's gonna keep that moisture intact and also letting it rest before you slice it. It's been about 35, 40 minutes. Ooh. So let's check on these guys. Oh yeah, look at that color. Let's pull them out. To be fair, I meant to bring a meat thermometer home from work for this video, and I forgot. So that's why I'm going with like the finger test method. These are done. The thighs could definitely stay in there longer and they'd be fine. The breast is gonna start to dry out. So I'm gonna pull these out, let them rest for another like 10 minutes, and then we'll do a taste test. Okay, we're gonna test our chicken thigh first. Got some really great crispy brown color here. And we've got meat that's so tender underneath, like just pulling away from the bone tender. If we'd left this in there longer, it would get to the point where it's just falling off the bone. Braising is a particularly French method of cooking. It's a great method for really sturdy pieces of meat too, like lamb shank, ribs, chicken hind quarter. Anything with a bone in it, for the most part, is going to be great as a braised piece of meat. So let's test out our chicken thigh. This was the most tender of all the options, 100%. Like notably different even than the seared and baked boneless chicken thigh. Flavor-wise, the marinated meat, I think I liked the flavor better just because I liked kind of the sweet and tangy aspect of it. But in terms of like a piece of chicken, like if I'm wanting to just like enjoy chicken as kind of the centerpiece of the meal, this is going to be the way to go. This would also make a really great like pulled chicken if I wanted to use that. Like you don't have to just eat this as a hunk of meat on a piece of plate. You could then take the meat off of the bone and you could make it into a chicken salad. You could put it in tacos. You could pull it and have it as like barbecue chicken. Like you could do a lot of different things with this, but baseline, it also is going to be great just on its own. And then last taste test, let's do the bone-in chicken breast. So this is a little trickier to cut off the bone since the bone runs all the way along the back side of it. I'm going to start with just a little piece here on the front. I'm going the wrong way on the grain there, but that makes it a little bit hard based on the cut. This is enough for me to taste test. Obviously, not as tender as the thigh, but that was to be expected. A great example though of why you want to go against the grain and not with it. Look at the difference in terms of texture here. Last taste test of the day, I'm gonna try to cut a piece here that's going the other way against the grain. There we go. That's a little bit better. Can't do it to myself. Can't do it. This is definitely, it's too tough. I can already tell. The braising option was not the right option for the breast, even though it has a bone and skin. Like it's not dried out, but it is kind of tough. This is probably a better roasting option, but I wanted to do the like more equal comparison. So that was an experiment, a little bit of a failed one, hence the extra chewing to swallow. So least favorite of all of them was this option. I accidentally proved my own point that I was making at the beginning, was not trying to do that, was trying to give you 4 solid options here. I gave you 3 out of 4, 75% success. Passing grade. Could have been better. Even though the bone-in breast has the bone, it has the skin, it has some extra things going for it in terms of moisture and flavor, it still just has an abrupt cutoff point in terms of when that chicken is done, it's done. And anything past that, it just gets worse, not better. So overall take, if you want to stick with the chicken breast, you're gonna stick with a method where when it's done, you pull it out, it's done. No more. You're not cooking it any longer than you have to. So the searing, roasting, or grilling, those are gonna be great methods for it. Marinating also super gonna help in terms of texture, flavor retention, and moisture retention. If you're wanting to go with a slower cooking method, a longer cooking method, extra moisture, super tender, then you're gonna wanna go with the dark meat, hind quarter or chicken thigh, slow roast after you've seared it with some moisture, liquid, and it's gonna fall off the bone. It's gonna be delicious. Also, probably should have had my oven turned it down a bit for that last bit of braising. Keep it on the 425 to get the nice like color and caramelization as it first goes in there, and then I should have cranked it down. I got distracted doing dishes, didn't do it. That also would have made a difference in the overall product. That's it for today. Thank you for being here. If you like being in a cooking community where we support each other, where we talk about the why behind things, and where you get to see a pro explain things and mess up from time to time in real time and try to figure out what went wrong and how to fix it, then this is the spot for you. Thanks for being here. Drop any comments or questions below, and I will see you next time.